Welcome to the channel, people. Today we're duping decor from Joanna Gaines' Magnolia Homeline as part of Duping Through the Holidays playlist. And for the first dupe, you're going to need a box of tumbling blocks. There are actually 3 different sizes of this metal frame vase, ranging from $25 to $50, and my goal is to only spend $1 using the tumbling blocks. For the bonds, I'm going to use my favorite Type Bond wood glue and Surebond hot glue. One is for a quick hold, the other one's for a long hold, and we're going to use my clay scraping tool that I got recently to get all these crusty bits out. Once you smush your blocks together, you'll have like these little bumps from the hot glue, and just scrape them out, okay? Just scrape them out. We're going to need 8 rows of 3 to create this. 4 are going to create the bottom square and 4 are going to create our top square. Tumbling blocks are funny because you have to be mindful of how you glue them together to create a perfect square. So you have to actually put them on the sides and not necessarily the tip of the end, if that makes sense. Kind of like this, how I'm just kind of sliding it in there. It's the side and then the tip of the end on the other side. And you repeat the process till you get yourself a little square, and make sure it doesn't, stick to your background paper. A little side note real quick, recently in one of my latest tumbling block palette videos, I had people asking about this tool that I'm using, and they are clay scraping tools. So type that into the Amazon search bar and they should come up for you. I wanted to layer all these tumbling blocks like this all the way up, but I realized I was going to need a ledge, if you will, to put our little cross on that we're, going to eventually put our little vase glass piece on. So I figured for the most part, we'll glue these on here like this, and then I'm going to just put the one tumbling block all the way around facing this way. So once we put our pieces in there, each little piece of our X has a little ledge like this. The last 2 before we connect the top, because I only put 2, you could do 3, 4, however tall you want this to be. I use the hot glue and the wood glue. However, just this one particular one, I use just hot glue to get it an immediate bond. I do go back over the entire piece once it's all said and done and put wood glue everywhere to make sure this thing is not going to fall apart. It's definitely a piece you do not want to skip on the wood glue. So make sure you put the wood glue in there, people. I highly recommend putting your little X in here before you put the top on, so this way you can move your pieces. So 4 tumbling blocks fits in here perfectly. It lays perfect, but we're not going to be able to put 2 on each side to be able to have them lay just perfect for the X. So we're going to need to cut one of them down, because this is, see how we have just a little bit extra, so you're going to need to cut them down just a tiny smidge. I used a little miter box, just sawed them down and just snapping the little bits off, and then I'm going to just put them on there together with some wood glue and some hot glue. Now please be mindful, because I got a little excited and started kind of really pushing this down after I put the wood glue in here, and when I did that, the little X kind of snapped and then it was like in little sections like popping off. I was having a little bit of a struggle trying to put this together. It was not okay. But I gathered my composure and started slowly piecing it back together, putting the wood glue in there. Once I then put it back down in place, didn't press on it, I just left it gently to dry. The other thing I had to be mindful of, that you should be mindful of too, is your ends move slightly. So you're going to make sure that as you're pushing that in there, you're not pushing it too much in one side to the other, because the end would pop off, because this was not completely dry. I was working on this, as I went along, and then did the top. I did one side at a time with the hot glue at the top and the wood glue. Remember I said that I went over the whole thing with the wood glue real good? This is me doing that. I let it dry and then spray painted it with a navy blue spray paint. Here's their version and here's mine. Look at our little pocket. It's cute, $22. We're gonna make it for $1.99 out of this little cloth placemat I got from Christmas tree shops. Love Christmas tree shops. It's a little busy, right? There's a lot going on here, but I thought this would be a really cute pocket. No, it's not an exact dupe, but it's the idea, and I don't want to hear anything about it in the comments, okay? So you guys just calm down and take this inspiration for what you want to use it for, all right? On a side note, I have never glued fabric like this together ever. I've watched it done many times, and it looks fairly easy, so I also had zero faith in my hot glue skills and grabbed the tacky glue and figured we're gonna put a little bit of tacky glue and then we're gonna use the hot glue. I thought, how hard can this be? And then I realized it was really hard, and anybody that has ever watched anybody glue a pillow together, you praise them for all their worth, because I cannot do it. I will not do it. This was rough. Gluing fabric takes a certain level of skill. I do not have it, nor the patience that goes along with it, and I definitely burn myself and have a beautiful little blister. Oh, I know, for those of you that have been on me about getting those little things from my fingers, like, I just keep forgetting, people. Forgive me. I do. I keep forgetting. Ow! I completely misjudged where that glue was. It got me really good underneath my fingernail. Anyhow, let's real quick take a minute to talk about duping through the holidays and all these wonderful creators that came together to make this possible with me. If you're just coming in to Duping Through the Holidays playlist, welcome. Each week in November we have been duping, and this week we are doing Magnolia. We have also pitched in to be able to give back to the community, to thank all of you who show up week after week after week with a giveaway. And if you're interested in a chance to win that giveaway, all you have to do is listen for each creator's question that is duping Magnolia this week and respond to that in their comments. The playlist link is in the description box, and make sure you're checking the thumbnails for the Magnolia week. You want to watch the creators that participated in Magnolia, because we are all duping different weeks. For your chance to win this week's $100 Visa gift card, your comments must be on those creators that are participating in Magnolia. The winner will be announced November 24th, so you have 5 days to get your comments in. For the front pocket part, I just cut out a little square that was roughly the size of the pocket, the rest of the fabric, and glued just the, U shape of the bottom down. And on the back I took some nautical rope and some tacky glue and put our little hook part down, or hoop, where this is our hoop for our top part. And that was it for this little pocket. Here is their version, and here's mine. This is probably my favorite thing I seen on that whole Magnolia site, and I thought we can use some clay. I got some clay I haven't opened yet that should work for this, and I had this little plaque piece I picked up from Dollar Tree. I thought it would be a nice base, and then as I'm going I remember why I stopped using this clay, because it's hard as a brick. It's like ridiculously tough. If it wasn't bad enough that I had already struggled finding me some dupes for this week, while I love the Magnolia in general, just finding things to recreate was a struggle for me, okay? This made it all the more worse when I had to really kind of put my thumb into every little dent here to push this clay around. It was so rough. I also do furniture art, which I haven't posted any of that in a while, but I found a new clay that I really like. It's a paper clay, so if you would ever want to create something like this, if not exactly, use the paper clay. It works really magnificently. It's super soft. I do highly recommend using some wood glue. I purposefully only use wood glue on the top to be able to show you that on the bottom it's gonna come off. I took some water to spray on here to seal in the crack, because water helps you to be able to manipulate the clay and move it around more. And once I was happy with the way that it just looked like a bunch of lumpy bumpies, I decided it was time to press our florals in here. And initially I thought this was going to work because they're plastic, you know, but nope, it really didn't work out so well. The clay was pulling up, the imprint wasn't that great. I was rather disappointed. So I found this little gem and I was like, this should work out better. Like, let's use this. And no, that got really stuck in there, and then I had to spend some time wiggling it out, and the little bead bits were really stuck. They were pulling the clay out. I was definitely at a loss here because I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working, and I thought maybe the clay is just too thick and it's watered up and it's lubed up, and I just don't know what its problem is. It has attitude. So we're gonna just hand draw this at this point. So I took a dotting tool and just started kind of pressing down gently and then making some, I don't know, they look like wishes to me. I was like, I'm trying to recreate something that if you wanted to do it, it wouldn't be so difficult. So I just started kind of pulling some lines down to make it look like a wish, and thought it actually turned out pretty cute at the end of the day. I actually have a list of like DIYs I'd like to redo at some point, like try to fix ones that didn't turn out so great. And this is actually going to make it onto that list because I really love the idea of this. You could be so creative and do so many different things, and it just didn't work out the way I thought. But real quick, let's pause and answer my giveaway question. So if you want a chance to enter to win that $100 Visa gift card, put your comment down below to this question. Here's our little plaque, I'm calling it, the next day, and it cracked so bad. And here is where, see how I didn't wood glue this side? It just popped on up, just peeled on up. So now I'm coming back and kind of smooshing in some of that, you know, wood glue in there, so this way it's not going to go anywhere. I did a coat of Waverly Plaster Chalk Paint. Actually, I'm lying. I did like 4 coats because I was trying to make sure it got in all the little cracks. And, you know, once it was dry, then I came back in with some colors. This is just a gray paint, and I'm going inside the floral marks and then kind of doing a little bit of dry brushing around to give a texture. Since there is some cracking, I want to try and hide that. And then I'm going back over it with a light coat of the Waverly Plaster to really kind of just blend everything in. For the stems, I'm using Waverly's Antique Wax to get in the little pieces, and then dry brushing some of the Waverly Wax in different areas again to try to blend some of that cracking so you can't really see it that well, and then going over it one last time with the plaster. Here's their version, and here's mine. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, people. I hope you got some learning and some entertainment out of today's video. Like I said, I definitely like to try this one again and redeem myself. Until next time.